This is a clue for today's video. This one is too intact. Hey Spuds, it's Jamie. Welcome back to another video. I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here. And today we are going through the glorious transy subreddit of egg in real life. For all of the freshly cracked or about to crack trans eggs, this is when a trans person is just about to or has just figured out that they are trans. These are just some funny little memes about early stage of transitioning, figuring things out, still thinking that you are totally cis despite absolutely being trans. You know, a little bit of denial is okay. Everybody experiences that. So yeah, we're going to have a look through those today. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Hoodies. Trans guys with boobs. Trans girls without boobs. Agreeing on those great big baggy Dysphoria hoodies. A staple of any trans person's wardrobe. I had so many. A good tip for summer is to wear zip up ones because then you still get a little bit of airflow. Do atheists go to hell? No. How about politicians who introduce transphobic legislature?
Straight to hell, to the boiler room of hell, all the way down to the depths, to the bottom.
This is not necessarily like a very eggy meme, but I have said this multiple times before, that if there were a hell, that's where the bigots would be going, not the trans people. Unless those trans people also happen to just be horrible people and bigots, because there are horrible people in every community within society. It happens. Bad eggs. Classic. I'm fine with being called a bad girl or a stupid girl, as long as I'm called a girl. Don't care what else you think about me, just gender me correctly. I mean, obviously not for me, this is a trans femme meme, but I appreciate the sentiment, even though it is the reverse for myself. Other women with a time machine. I am your granddaughter. Really? Really? I do not believe you. Me with a time machine. Oh. Puberty blockers to 12-year-old you. Honestly, if you want to know how life-changing gender-affirming care can be, including things like puberty blockers, that 12 would probably be the youngest you could start taking it, and an entirely reversible, very well-documented medicine still prescribed to cis kids. Just saying. I think if you went around and you spoke to all the trans people and you were like, if you could have taken these, would you? If you could go back in time and take puberty blockers and then go straight onto the hormone that's correct for your gender rather than the one that your assigned birth sex pushed you through, would you do that? Yes. Yes would be the answer for a majority of trans people, including myself. Absolutely, literally without hesitation. How do I look like her, but in a cis way? Well, I have some news. Well, you know, saying that, if that is what you really wanted, I'm assuming this is a trans femme coded meme, so somebody who's assigned male at birth. You can dress like that. Cis people can be completely gender non-conforming because our gender expression and the clothes we wear and the way we hold ourselves and our mannerisms are not our gender. Society tells us that we need to fit into these different boxes, and for some people that's how they're more comfortable. For a majority of people, that's the way they go. But for a lot of people, trans people included, being gender non-conforming is perfectly fine. You do not have to fit in to the box of gender stereotypes for your culture. If you want to dress like this, but you identify as a cis man, go for it. The two can be correlated to one another, gender expression and gender identity, but they are not intrinsically just linked together, and you know, they don't have to be the same. They don't have to match. Worrying about not being trans enough. If we pull off that mask, what do we find? Dysphoria. Probably also a little bit of societal pressure of constant messaging that being trans is bad and that we shouldn't be trans and you can't be trans and no to trans. No, that's what it feels like sometimes. See, because I would be very curious to be in the head of a bigot for a day, just to know what that existence would be like. I imagine incredibly sad and frustrating and stressful. If somebody like that could just be in the head of a trans person for a day, I think a lot of problems would be solved. Trans people do enough worrying about being trans enough and being valid and being deserving of healthcare and all of this stuff and constantly questioning ourselves that we don't need cis people to do it for us. Seeing some random girl in a cute outfit. Dysphoria. It's dysphoria time. Yes, just yes. Other way round again for me, but yes. Yeah. That's why sexual orientation was so difficult for me to figure out for a long time, because I was like, do I want to be him or be with him? I do not know. Turned out it could be both. I am joining a new group for a hobby. They all seem nice. They do a pronouns round. A pronouns round? A lovely, nice new hobby that is inclusive. I tell them my old pronouns. Oh dear, that was your chance. Oh my goodness. That was your shot. shot. Oh no. I can see why this would happen though. Sometimes you're not ready to take that step, and it's okay. This possibly meant that it wasn't the right time, and the right time will happen, and it doesn't mean you can't change your pronouns within that group later. It will just be slightly more complicated, and people will have to break the habit, and it may take a minute, but it's okay. I accepted myself and got the starter pack. A monster and a blowhigh. The blowhigh. I have the blowhigh. Probably the same size blowhigh. I really wanted the huge blowhigh, but we did not have the space for it. And I spoke about this online, and then a lovely viewer brought this to one of the book events and was like, I got a smaller one so that you're both happy because it doesn't take up all the space, but you get a blowhigh. Honestly, so touched. Best thing ever. How I would dress if I was a girl. Still cis though, ovs. Yes, there's a bit of a difference between being like how I would like to dress, but I don't feel like I can because cis, because you absolutely can. You can wear clothes from any section regardless of your gender. But that is different to being like, this is how I would dress if I were a girl. That maybe indicates some feelings. Does not necessarily make you trans, but the still cis though phrasing with that kind of thing before it is very trans coded, and I would recommend exploring those feelings and not being afraid to explore those feelings and not being afraid to experiment with dressing like this and see how it makes you feel. Oh, you like bad boys, huh? I read that in the least sexy way possible. Well, I'm bad at being a boy. You should love me. Transition timelines. What if I go bald? Searching for info on male pattern baldness. How am I not bald? Literally any time I brush my hair. Oh, because there's so many hairs. Because the estrogen makes the hair luscious and the testosterone does not. See, I could not tell in the beginning if this were a trans mask or a trans femme meme. Trans femme. But trans mask one would probably be like 15 years later. It's happening. Or less. The timeline is different for everybody. It is a concern for me. My hairline has gone back. The hair on top of my head is a little bit thinner than the back. I preferably would not go bald. I think it suits some people beautifully. I have some very beautiful bald friends in my life. However, I have a very, very, very tiny head and quite big features. Like I got like a big nose and big eyes and everything. And I just feel like if I were bald, it would not be the one for me personally. I don't think it's objectively a bad look. Just subjectively for me, I really like my hair. My wife thinks she's funny. Wife, me, son, daughter. This is all like a little family Nintendo group. I love it so much. You're the egg. Does your wife know something? Yoshi's egg, right? I love Yoshi. I'm going to get a Yoshi tattoo, I think. I wish I was born a girl so I could be a lesbian, but I'm cis. My advice to this person would be to sit down and very slowly read that sentence several times and like really digest what they are saying and where those feelings are coming from. Because that's quite a lot. And possibly means that everything following the but is not quite right. They just seem so much happier, and seeing women holding hands with other women makes my heart beat so quickly. I consider myself cis, but every time I see a post with two women dancing or hugging, it makes me envious. I wish I could be in a relationship without having to worry about masculinity and just have femininity with a caring partner who understands you. Is this a normal way to feel about relationships, or is there something wrong with you? Firstly, nothing wrong with you. Secondly, this could be that you might want to explore your gender, could be that you might want to explore your gender expression, and with exploration and experimentation and thinking and having some like thoughts about yourself and your identity, it may turn out that you're a cis man attracted to women who wants to embrace femininity and be gender non-conforming. Or it could turn out that you are a trans woman who is attracted to women, or you are non-binary and present femininely and are attracted to women. There could be multiple things. The possibilities are endless. You do you be yourself, and don't stress. There's nothing wrong with you. It can be a scary time though. I'm not dismissing like,
just think about it. It'll be fine and work its way out. This is easy peasy.
It's not. It can be a very scary time, but don't suppress those feelings. Whatever your identity turns out to be. Read that first sentence again several times though. That would be my first bit of advice. No, mum, I'm not taking hormones. It's the 5G towers, I swear. I mean, if they believe that is what causes transness.
Look, this is out of my control. I don't know what you want me to do. It's the 5G. They made me grow this beard.
Reason 1 out of infinite to never work retail. Why must I be forced to speak at work? Whenever I don't, they call me sir, and it feels so effing good. I had this exact thing. I'm quite fortunate that I am taller, and when I came out, I was already presenting in quite a masculine way and was read as male a lot of the time. And literally, the times when I wasn't, it was almost always because of my voice before I started testosterone, and it did lead me to be incredibly quiet in public. I did not like speaking to strangers. I didn't want to make phone calls. I didn't want to answer questions in class. I was so like scared to talk ever because that's what outed me. That's what caused me to get misgendered and then cue dysphoria and not feeling great about myself. So honestly, starting testosterone when my voice dropped, I'm still shy. I'm still not the loudest person in the room, but that's just a personality thing, not a trans thing. But I definitely became a lot more comfortable with speaking to people and speaking up in class and making phone calls. Kind of. The anxiety over phone calls was a very different thing after my voice dropped. This is a face I make when they say my haircut makes me look like a boy. Like, yes, I am boy. I remember when I was 8 or 9, I always kind of had like shorter hair, but it was kind of like down here a bit for a while. And I wanted it to be short because I wanted to fit in with the boys and I wanted them to see me as a fellow boy and I wanted other people to see me as a boy. And so I went for my haircut and my mum let me get it cut like really quite short. And I remember turning around after the haircut had finished. I loved it. I was like, oh my God. I'll try and put a picture up here of what it kind of looked like. And I just turned to my mum and I was like, do I look like a boy now? And my parents were always so great. And she was just like, if that's what you want, dear. Like, yes, sure. It must have, because I remember after that going out places like to the zoo and like strangers would just refer to me as a boy. And I don't really remember my parents ever like correcting people. They were very chill with it, to be honest. Told my wife I'm questioning my gender, said I might be trans. She's giddy. She's a married lesbian now. I love when it works out like that. I saw this reel recently where somebody kind of reenacted this time when they were going to come out to their partner as a lesbian. And before they had a chance to, their partner was like,
I need to stop you right there. I am a trans woman, and this is me coming out to you as a trans woman.
as in like they were pre-transition at the time that I signed male at birth. And she was just like,
Well, that's great news then, because I'm a lesbian. So this is going to work out wonderfully.
still cis though, the Mysteria all-knowing gender identity beacon. What, calling bullshit on the still cis though? Why am I not understanding this meme? Where is this image from? It looks very Minecrafty. I don't understand. Maybe just because I'm tired. I don't know. Help. Unsure about your gender? Try a piece of this pretty cake I found in the forest. A mysterious cake, not with any kind of magical properties or anything. Eat the cake. That cake matches my cup. My cup is the trans flag. Drink from the magical cup of transness and become trans. Mwah. This is what the right wingers were afraid of all along. Bullshit. That is like one of the most spectacular cakes I've ever seen. I am in love with a cake. I am going to marry this cake. I will leave Shaba for that. No, I won't. That's too far. But I love this cake. I want to eat the trans cake. Trans femmes. I hate when guys is used to refer to groups. It makes me dysphoric. Me, an enlightened Texan. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, y'all. If you have a Texas accent, a southern accent, I believe also would work, right? When you say howdy, y'all, it sounds cool. I'm not gonna lie, and I mean this in no negative. I'm not the biggest fan of many of the American accents, personally. I will not be offended if you don't like the British accent. It's okay. I don't have control over the accent I have. I have no affinity to it. I don't care. It's how I talk. It's like the Australian accent isn't my favorite, but the Irish accent, love. Scottish, a love. My parents have Scottish accents. Where is mine? But how do you, that just sounds good in a Southern American accent, like a Texan accent. Does not sound good in an English accent. Absolutely not. No. Coming out to my parents in February. What's wrong with February? I was born in February. I will defend February as a great, actually shit. I do not like January and February. Why was I born in like the worst month of the year? Anyway, so you're not coming out to your parents in February. You are procrastinating and planning to come out in September. Is this just arbitrary? Was there a reason? Because you could make that September, October. And I think it's specifically, wait a minute, I'm going to Google it so I don't lie to you. There's like coming out day, October. You could come out October 11th, 2025. And that is National Coming Out Day. I don't know for which nation, but it can honorarily be your nation wherever you live if you wish to have a day to work towards to come out. But don't feel pressured like you have to say,
I need to come out in this time frame. I need to come out by this date.
you come out whenever you feel ready. And you might think you're ready and you might sit down to say it and it just doesn't come out. And that's okay because maybe your brain isn't quite there yet. Take your time. Come out when you feel ready. Is this gay? So I'm straight, but sometimes me and my friend dress up as girls and then kiss in a dimly lit room. That's trans and gay. You've nearly taken all the acronym there in just that. Yeah, it is just a little bit. Downloading The Sims just to make yourself as a cute girl is perfectly cis behavior, right? Right. Yeah, sure. Yes. Do you know, The Sims is also incredibly inclusive. Anybody should play The Sims because I think it's great fun. But if you are trans, and especially like early days transition, go play The Sims. I think it's fantastic. You can make your trans self in The Sims and live your best trans life. Do it. This, yeah, perfectly cis behavior. Perfectly. When I was a kid, and I feel like this is a pattern among a lot of trans people, you don't have to have shown this pattern to be trans. And if you did do this, it doesn't necessarily mean you are trans. But it is a pattern, it's a correlation, it's a thing for a lot of trans people. As kids, like when I played The Sims, I made myself as a boy. I always wanted to make boy Sims. When I played any kind of game, when I played like Mario Kart, when I played literally anything you can think of where you choose your character, you could choose to play as a boy character or a girl character, I would always choose the boy. I never wanted to be a girl. Ew, gross, girls. No, I'm kidding. It's not the way I viewed myself as a kid. Like I gravitated towards how I saw myself, which was in the boys and the boy characters. And I still do that now because I am a man. I never wanted to play as a girl because that's just not how I saw myself. Haha, freak. Years later, how the turns have tabled. Well, not that you're a freak, that's not what I mean. Just that you would call somebody a freak because clearly, I don't know, you didn't like something about them and then you turned out to be very similar. That is karma, but in a way that I hope you are happy and living your best life as your true self and no longer feeling the need to take out that frustration on other people. My body, it goes through puberty. Me, the trans Uno reverse card. That would make a fantastic sticker. Or just like I'd have that in a frame. Wouldn't you have that in a frame? I think that would be great in a frame. Ooh, I like that. But yes, about the meme, I reversed the puberty. I put it right for myself. Yay. It's a very powerful card. How cis people look at you after telling you you don't need bottom surgery to be a real man after yelling at you for 7 years you can't be a man because you don't have a penis. That is a very specific scenario. Very specific. I've had cis people stand like that and be like, after just saying the most heinous things. So yeah. Is it normal to worry you're forcing yourself to feel trans? Yes, very normal. And I think the current transphobia going on and the flavour of transphobia at the minute really doesn't help with that. Like I said earlier, trans people, we do enough questioning of ourselves that cis people should just leave us be. They don't need to get involved in that. We're doing a good enough job. It's perfectly normal. It doesn't mean that you're not trans. It doesn't make you any less valid. It just is a very natural part of the realization and transitioning process that a lot of trans people experience. Me, co-worker that I friended on Pokemon Go, not asking why our avatars are the opposite genders. See? Games. What a fantastic outlet for people to explore their identity and their feelings and their expression. I love it. Pre-HRT, super flat. After getting HRT, super flat. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just, it's genetic, isn't it? Just some people, it doesn't happen. There are many cis women who are this way inclined, and that is perfectly fine. No, buying regular elevated shoes. Yes, buying shoes marketed to short kings. So there are regular elevated shoes that are just, here are some elevated shoes, and then there are elevated shoes that are like, here are the shoes for the short king. These aren't just any shoes. These are short king shoes. They are the shoes of the short kings to make you slightly less short kings. I started testosterone today, just for fun. I'm such a silly guy. What a silly fun thing for me to do. Me realizing I'm going to look like my sister. I really don't like my sister. Well, genetics be doing people dirty sometimes. It happens. I'm sorry. And that's it for all the egg in real life memes, which are basically just a specific flavor of trans meme, right? We're specifying categories of trans memes now. I hope you enjoyed the video though. I hope it brought a little bit of joy and a bit of relatability and laughter to your morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you may be watching this video. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You can see some names going up the screens. These are some names of my Patreons. I do have a Patreon. It's just somewhere where you can support me on a different platform. There is no obligation to whatsoever. It just really helps me carry on creating this content. So if you want to go check it out, the link is in the description box. And I want to give a massive shout out to my top tier Patreons. Albar, Bildad the Sweet, Chloe, Dallin Irving, Elden K, Gosco, Iona Balash, Jesse Entwistle, Swallowed a Piece of Fur, Max Mates Mods, Night Soul, Nesta, I've really got fur in my mouth, oh my god, Night Soul, Nesta, Rachel Raptor, Randy, Riley Ray, River Champagne, Sally Drew, Sarah Hobbs, Sienna Lamb, Slayer, Spring Metal Dragon, Sugar Joe, TNS Mum, the Paisley Prince, and the Third Hat Man. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.